All right, everyone. Good morning. Thank you again for joining us this morning. We'll begin the session for today. As you all know, we had been conducting the training session since 16th of this month, ever since we have discussed on many topics with regards to science and technology. For today's session, we have Engineer Rajesh, who have joined us from Bangalore. We'll come to him in a few minutes. Before we start, I'll give you a quick introduction of who we are. We have given a glimpse into what WISE is and what we stand for. And the intention of this particular session, the study session, was to identify the paths, the different paths that a student, 10th standard past student can opt from. For this, we have Engineer Rajesh, who happens to be a technologist in Bangalore. I mean, he works. He in fact serves one of the leading organizations in India. It is actually a world-renowned organization. He is actually heading a senior position at Wipro. He had been associated with Wipro for almost 2 decades. He have led multiple positions in the same organization. I welcome him and I request him to guide our children who have actually participated in the session by discussing the opportunities that students can opt from and work for in the field of technology. So let me give you a quick introduction of WISE. We had been giving some information even in the last few sessions that we have conducted earlier. I will not go into detail of all these, but just to have a glimpse for you, all those who have participated today. Fine. I welcome Engineer Rajesh to join us, sir. Over to you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yes, yes.
All right. Let me share my screen.
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, very well.
Okay. Thanks everyone for joining, and I'm not sure Mansoor is there on the call. Thanks Mansoor for giving this opportunity to interact with students. Just a quick introduction from my end. This is Rajesh. I am based out of Bangalore. I am heading a practice in my organization and in the industry for the last 2 decades, as was mentioned. Played multiple roles as part of my journey, starting from a telecom organization where we were developing telecommunication products. Then I moved into some of the networking related products and data networking related projects. Later moving into mobile technology in terms of mobile platforms and applications. And into the latest role, I am heading a global practice spreading across geographies on multiple application technologies. There could be an ERP applications, mobiles, and web technologies, etc. Right. So that's where I am, and good to connect with you. I hope I'll be able to share a little bit of my experience with you, which will help you to understand the trends within the technology space and what it means for you, and what are the areas and opportunities that you can focus on. Right. So that's the content that I am looking at speaking today. Let us make it interactive. I hope you are having access to the chats and stuff where you can put your comments as I speak. Can you all hear me okay? Are you able to interact with me? Either the chat is all enabled, right, for the session?
Yes, yes, sir. It is. It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while I speak, put your comments and thoughts. We can discuss it, in the next 20 minutes or so. So that's what I will run through this deck, and then you can discuss, as an open forum. So considering the topic of technology, right? Um, um, Technology and you, and whether you are using technology for your day-to-day activities, or are you developing technology and making it available for the end user. Technology is part of us in our daily lives, right? So nobody can now move away from technology. It is, coming to you in terms of all the activities that we do. And the very session that we are doing today, right, over Zoom, is an example. When I was in 10th or 11th, this was not a possibility. So we, across geographies, sitting in the comfort of our homes, able to interact with each other over a web sharing session, is itself a testimony that technology is being available for all of us to consume. Right now, what does it mean for you and me, as we move forward, is something that we are going to discuss. For a quick agenda, we will look at some of the trends that is happening within the space, some of the careers that you would be looking forward to, and some of the skills that you can focus on when you are moving into technology as a career, or technology as a path forward. So, when I was in your age, or I was studying in school, right? Many of these things, I don't know if you are having access to chat. I would like to, I hope you are able to see the stuff properly. But just look at some of these, what I am displaying on the screen. If you are able to identify these aspects, because all of you, are expected to be millennials. I'm not sure whether you have seen this, but at least somewhere in the corner of your house, some of these aspects could be lying, which is not being used in the current world, because it has all been taken over by something. So if you're able to make out some of these things, put your comments. I mean, I would like to understand and be able to interact if you're able to make out these things. But at the point of discussion, I wanted to bring it up. Most of these things, and another, what you can see is probably 7 items, but another 10 items is all clubbed together, and it is getting replaced by these two gadgets, right? A laptop, which is becoming thinner and thinner, and a mobile, a gadget which is there on your palm and on your fingertips, where you can do anything and everything, much beyond what I mentioned in the left side of the screen. So yeah, I can see some comments coming. Interesting. We will yeah, that's correct. I think what has happened in the last 2 decades, or even 15 years or so, is a drastic and dramatic change, and all this has been enabled with the help of technology, right? And many of these things can be achieved even without a computer. You can do just using your mobile device and a smartphone. So yeah, some glitch over there. Okay, so what is now currently happening, right? So in my role and my organization, any any conversation that I'm having with my customers is all about digital transformation, right? So some of the examples that we have seen in the previous slide about the transformation that we have done is just like a common man's usage, right? But when it's look at business, global enterprises and global business, what is that they are looking at in terms of transformation? So most of our conversations in terms of taking the current level of maturity or current level of interaction with their end customers to be taken to the next level for the better, right? How can you add more and more value in communicating with the end customer through digital transformation? And it's all about customer experience, and who is this customer? It is you and me, right? So whether you are interacting with a bank, or you're interacting with an e-commerce company, or you are interacting with a learning company, I mean, you can see very well the kind of transformation happening through Byju's kind of a platform, right? So all of them are implementing using digital tools, platforms, and ecosystem for better banking, better shopping, better transport, better media, or better gaming. And these are all, available to us as end users to consume. And we also start appreciating it when things are happening, better. It is adding more value to your day-to-day transactions. That's where, our, from an IT industry, we are also interacting with our customers in terms of the next level of maturity through digital transformation. What are the outcomes that customers are expecting? It is more in terms of efficiencies, in terms of better time to market, less effort and more outcome, and for sure, everything on cost, right? How much it costs for me is what you and me think about when we are adapting something. The same way our customers are also looking at in terms of all this efficiency improvement. So what is something that is really driving this transformation? For sure, it is the revolution that is happening in the telecom sector, right? You should be having smartphones which is already connected to 4G, and when we were studying, we were not even access to Google, right? So we had 2G to start with. 3G came, it was not good enough. Now we are in 4G. Most of you are having access to a 4G network, but what the industry is looking forward to is 5G and 6G, with the capability of enhancing your connectivity speed at a rate of 20 Gbps to 1000 Gbps, right? Imagine the kind of data that it can carry when we are moving towards a 5G and a 6G environment, or 6G kind of a networking environment. So whether we wanted it or not, 4G became a reality in so much of a short time frame. 3G was probably for a short time, and 4G came into existence already. And from a technology perspective, we should all acknowledge that it is all going to be connected, right? We are all going to be depending on this telecom revolution and the change that is happening in the networking field and the connected technologies, all powered by telecom revolution. So we can't escape from it. We will go with it, right? So we'll align with that change. And who's the immediate beneficiary of that change? It is a mobile technology, and as I seen in the last 2 decades, we all started with the 2G, simple phone, able to make calls, but as we speak today, you are able to transact, whether it is an e-commerce platform, shopping, banking, wallets. You can have a doctor online using your mobile, and all your health gadgets is all in one within in your fingertips, right? So that's the kind of transformation already happened. but the kind of expectation coming from this technology with the help of 5G and 6G kind of networking platforms is going to be, completely transformational. It's going to be, we can't think about the changes. It's just like the change that has happened in the last 2 decades. It's going to be completely transformational. While you might be using Android phones, iOS phones, and the platform standardization has happened somewhere, in the 2000s, right, where Apple and Google came into existence, taking away all the platforms that was existing by various vendors like Motorola's or Nokia's and stuff. So they were all having their own proprietary platforms, but standardization happened in iOS and Android, which also helped in terms of streamlining the entire application and the utility space of mobile technologies and mobile applications. So that's going to be driving. We can't say if some more players coming into this area with more standardization happening, but at the moment these two platforms are reigning in terms of the transformation in the mobile area. And one of the key aspects you would be hearing as well is in terms of security, right? So we are all depending on the passwords and one-time passwords, OTPs that comes into our mobile phones for ensuring that, okay, it's a right transaction, it's a secure transaction, but it's much beyond that. The way that we are going to see the changes happening in future, I think security of the transactions will become a critical focus area and a critical challenge. If you have any comments, etc., start putting in. We will discuss about it as we move forward. Okay. Sure. Elarum using in the mobile phones and what is that you are using? You can just put your comments. Is it a smartphone? Is it a basic phones, etc. നമുക്ക് അതിനെക്കുറിച്ചൊരു discussion നടത്താം, because the way that it is going to transform is something you will all experience as we go. Another important change or a platform that has come into existence is all about social media. I think if mostly in one or other social media using in terms of either Facebook or Twitter, or might be doing some blogging or some of the Google platforms, etc. So either social media, it is just not about interacting with people, right? And photo sharing and making your interest being showcased to the entire world. That's social media significance. So social media is capturing the personas of people and your patterns, right? The way that your likes and dislikes, your interests, your hobbies, what you buy most, it is getting captured. So when you're signing up for social media, we think that it's all free, right? But it is just not all free. There is something that you are giving it in return. What we are giving it in return is your persona or the data patterns. നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമ്മുടെ provider, social media service provider, is having a view about all kinds of data and the patterns. So recently, WhatsApp and the government of India, there is a conversation happening. And the conversation, it's like all about where is the data getting stored, and how much of data can be shared, right? Is the data stored in India or is the data stored outside? So, you would have got an option or a pop-up to say yes or no to it. And WhatsApp said, if you don't say yes to it, your services will be stopped. WhatsApp is free for us as long as you are having your data. You whatever you are interacting through WhatsApp, but there is a possibility for that. Facebook is the owner of WhatsApp now. So there is having a possibility to take some outcome out of the data, create some patterns, and make it as an input to the business, right? If you are searching too much about some of the items that you're planning to buy and that you're interacting either with Facebook or YouTube or through WhatsApp, the data is something usable for a business who is selling that item. So there's a huge amount of data being captured about your personal preferences and interests. So it is just not about personal interactions. It is much more in terms of collecting data and data-driven business intelligence, right? So very shortly, you will start seeing WhatsApp will become an e-commerce platform as well. I think Facebook and WhatsApp Pay, just like Google Pay, WhatsApp Pay also becomes a possibility. So WhatsApp even buy and sell things and even make a payment possibility is emerging. So they are integrating, it's all integratable with your e-commerce platforms as well to gather data and make it as a pattern. So that's another area which is evolving. It's already there, but it is going to be much more as we move forward. Idana one area, all that the interaction that I mentioned about WhatsApp or even about Twitter, which is there is a controversy going on. Government India government all the people in India, our data, India is a story now. But all their because of the multinational organizations, their data servers and data centers are all across the globe somewhere, not possibly in India. And our policy and citizen, everything has to be stored within the boundaries of India. And then problem it should be somebody has to be responsible for it, and India as a the boundaries of India should be having some kind of a possibility to retrieve it or make a case about it. Requirements, right? So all this that's just one aspect of it, but the entire enterprise applications or enterprises are modernizing their infrastructure and applications through cloud migration. So cloud it could be within the premises of an enterprise. It could be a public cloud which is accessible by everybody, and it could be a hybrid, a mix of both. Major players Azure, Microsoft Azure, Amazon and Web Service, AWS, and Google's cloud platform. These are the three major players. Here also data security is a key consideration because companies, even ICICI and if it is Reliance or any other banking company, data, if it has to be stored either privately or public, the security of the aspect becomes a very key consideration. So that's all about cloud computing. Let me move a little faster. So yeah, this is an interesting area which is becoming a part of your lives. Artificial intelligence, right? And earlier, all the data that is being captured using AI bots and AI algorithms is what they help to create patterns. AI use the technology platforms, and there are a lot of sensors available to capture that information from outside, put it together in a specific intelligent information using algorithms. There is an ability to learn. You can teach the algorithms of AI in terms of how do you want to react to it, right? How do you want to sense it? So for one example, I think even ICICI Bank in the site, there will be a conversational bot. It is called a conversational bot, which comes up and saying, how can I help you, right? Essentially, it is not a person who is interacting with you. It is a bot. It is an AI bot. Conversational AI bot is what it is called. It is all based on this one, the natural language processing algorithm. So this is becoming a big area of technology advancement, right? AI is going to come in each and every area that we are currently working. So the change that has happened in the last 20 years, the next 20 years, I think this is going to be the area using AI and robotics. Things are going to change drastically. Most of the repetitive things that you do today, it can become replaced by a bot or a robotic arm. So simple example, question answer, and there has to be somebody sitting there to take a phone and call you. But all the standard questions which comes to a bank can be stored somewhere. The other natural language processing, which can be understood by an AI algorithm, and that is being responded to you when you are chatting with that bot. If that bot does not understand the question, that is when the manual intervention comes, right? They will transfer it to somebody. So this is just an example, but much beyond that, in every area, things are going to change. Cybersecurity, this is a niche area which is opening up, from a technology field, because with a lot of gadgets and devices getting connected into internet, cybersecurity aspect is becoming more and more critical for us as an end user and also for enterprises. Recently, news and now, like malware, spyware, Alcarda username, passwords, getting compromised, etc. And even we can file a case against organizations. Organizations will become more and more cybersecurity aware. I think this is a niche skill that is opening up, or it's already existing, but it's going to be more and more critical as we move forward. Right? Cybersecurity consultants are going to be a high demand in the industry. This is an area of ERP, enterprise resource planning, basically mainly used by enterprises for making their internal transactions more and more streamlined and more intelligent, right? ഒരു കമ്പനി ആകുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങളും ഒരു small company start ചെയ്യാണെങ്കിൽ there has to be a financial aspect, there has to be an inventory management, internal services management, production manage ചെയ്യണം, human resource manage ചെയ്യണം. ഇതെല്ലാം കൂടി സ്ട്രീംലൈൻ ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഇന്റഗ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോംസ് ആണ് ERP എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, enterprise resource planning. And some of the key players in the market is SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, ServiceNow, Salesforce, etc. So either very differentiated technology area, which is going to be very centric to the business. It's a B2B or business to business kind of a transaction, and it's a booming area. It is there are more players coming into the bandwagon as well, right? So this is just a small list, but this is another area of interest. Data is a new currency. നമ്മൾ സോഷ്യൽ മീഡിയ കൂടെ ആണെങ്കിലും ലിങ്ക്ഡിൻ സോഴ്സ് ആണെങ്കിലും ഈവൻ യൂട്യൂബ് സോഴ്സ് ആണെങ്കിലും ഫ്രം എവറി വേർഡ് ഡേറ്റ ഇസ് കമ്മിങ്. ഇതെല്ലാ ഡേറ്റയും കൂടി ക്യാപ്ചർ ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് കോൾഡ് ബിഗ് ഡേറ്റ നൗ, റൈറ്റ്? സോ ബിഗ് ഡേറ്റ is a big area of actionable intelligence using the data captured. So അത് capture ചെയ്യണം, store ചെയ്യണം, analyze ചെയ്യണം, process ചെയ്യണം, and from processing that create it as an actionable intelligence and make it as a predictable algorithm. So അതാണ് ഇപ്പം എല്ലാവരും ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. So based on the data that is captured over a period of time, the AI algorithm and data algorithms can predict what could be the future. So predictive analytics is an important area of study, and immediately, even you might be seeing something about election predictions, right? People use data captured on the ground. They analyze it using some algorithms, and that is how the predictions are happening. There are various algorithms available in terms of correlation, regression, etc., to help you predict this. So, and Hadoop is, just one example of an open source big data framework. We can just note down certain points and then Google it later. A lot of information is available already in the net, right? So analytics is another focus area in terms of career forward. See, from a technology space, I have been part of the hardware aspects as well, right in the beginning of my career. I moved into the IT, software part of things. But this is something which India has probably missed out in terms of the journey. We started off well, but I think we were overtaken by competition like China, Malaysia, etc. But there is, I believe there is a huge focus coming into the electronic design automation, component designs, PCB designs, etc., and embedded software, right? So all of these gadgets that you are using, everything is having some or other embedded software. So embedded software is just like you are creating a software. There are some chipsets within the boards, and those software is autonomous, and it is able to do its job as an embedded software within that equipment. It could be even to the small equipment like a washing machine. There are so much of autonomous stuff that is built into it. This is all embedded technologies, right? So this is we probably lost out in this race, but I think it is catching up again. It's another area of interest. Those who are looking at electronics and those kind of interest areas. Okay, this is something which I have not worked on, but I just heard about this statement very recently in a interview. I don't know whether you heard about this. If you know about this guy, put your comments. Right? I think it would be cool to be born on Earth and die on Mars. I was fascinated by that statement. So if you know who is that guy, just put your comments there. But the fact of the matter is, many startups are coming up in this area within India, primarily because of the ISRO kind of an organization, churning out people who know space technology. They are starting many companies who is going to aid globally on interplanetary missions, small satellites, the components related for those space technologies, etc. So that is gaining momentum. I don't have much experience around it, but looking at the way that industry is moving, yeah, correct. It is Elon Musk, right? So, while we are talking about technology, about AI, this, that, etc., we are all talking about Earth, but he is talking about Mars. Right? So he is telling it could so happen that in his lifetime he can create a place to live in Mars. So think about the thought process. So it's totally changing the dynamics. And we are also in the race, right? So that means our engineers or our people will also start seeing the benefit of space technology, which is happening in India through organizations like ISRO. Those who are keen about interplanetary stuff, it's going to be very interesting field. Okay, so towards the end of it, some of the emerging other technologies is all about Internet of Things. As you see on to the right of the picture, so in between is a cloud, and the cloud is connected to all your gadgets, right? All the equipment that you can think of. So connected cars, smart homes, smart contracts, blockchains, and augmented reality and virtual reality. You can probably browse about this, augmented reality and virtual reality. It's all about the very same thing that I am speaking today. Can we make it as a capsule and brought it as a virtual reality capsule, right? And it's going to be interactive. You can touch and feel the experience of AI about data analytics. You can make some changes. You can do some code and try it out. This is going to be a completely new, dimension using virtual reality kind of consoles, and possibly the education as a field is possibly picking up fast in the global economies using virtual reality and augmented reality. We are still not yet there, but in your lifetime for sure we will start seeing a lot many things happening in this field. Connected cars, I mean, I heard in the next 10 years in the major economies of world, connected cars is becoming a reality. I mean, you just go into the car, you don't have to even type anything. You tap on something, you say where you want to go. Map connect you. Map will show you the route. The automated autonomous cars will take you there, and when you are there, it will tell you just get down. And that's how, I mean, this is going to happen in the next 10-15 years is what the prediction is all about. And it's already being tested, right? As you know, Google is testing, Apple is testing. So autonomous cars is another emerging technology. Smart homes, you might be seeing in bits and pieces already. Gadgets is going to be connected. So this is what I was telling about the cloud and connected technologies. So it's a big transformational shift that's going to happen in this world. Blockchain is all about, but a complete footprint or completely will be captured as part of in digital channels or a digital footprint. Whether it is about your documents or whether it is about your banks, your cars or your gadgets, contracts. I mean, everything is going to be having a digital footprint. It is becoming more and more, I would say, streamlined, but at the same time, it has got its own challenges, right? In terms of security is also becoming a critical challenge. Hardware aspects I mentioned, because connected world, the number of devices that it is going to come, it's going to be humongous. So connected world, hardware, and chips and chipsets to align with that change, it is going to be another big emerging technology. 3D printing, I don't have much view about it, but it is essentially going to give you or going to impact the manufacturing world. Anything and everything that you conceive as a software design can be printed using 3D printers. So that's another emerging one. As a skill, if I look at it, okay, so I think let me quickly go through this. Hot skills, cybersecurity, I mentioned data scientist through, data gathering and patterns and, making it more useful. Cloud consultant, AI, ML is artificial intelligence and machine learning expertise. Mobile web application engineering is already existing, but it's going to change drastically. Performance of all these applications and whatever you do on internet is going to be another important aspect. Internet of Things, as we discussed all about gadgets and stuff, going to be connected. Enterprise resource planning consultant, embedded software skills. For the hot skills is going to be useful if you are doing the technology route. Okay, so as a career, I would why I'm saying this is the kind of change that is happening. It is giving you a lot of opportunity to think about an idea, bring it to life. So at least it is all about finding a job somewhere, right? So everybody is promoting. There are a lot of funds available in terms of even a small idea if you want to bring it to life in entrepreneurship. Idea in Daki, you can make it happen. That's a big possibility. Beyond that, I think all those aspects that I mentioned gives you. We can look at the basic education that you need to do for all these, but as a career, these are some of the aspects that you will start seeing major opportunities. UI design is another area because everything is now the end user focus, right? So the way that is conceived and end the UI, how it is being projected to the end user is going to be a critical career aspect as well. So UI design, UI experience, UI experience directors, etc., are becoming a key requirement in every company. So yeah, coming to my last slide, I think I took more time than expected. Again, it's all about what do you see as an interest and passion, right? The journey so far, that will tell you, in terms of what is your interest, your passion, your aspiration, skills. Know yourself and try to understand, what is that you want to do best, and what will fit for yourself, and choose the right career is something I thought I should mention about it, because it is just not about somebody else telling. It is all that you are telling yourself that, which is the right one for you. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope it makes sense, and wishing you all the very best in whatever you are choosing for your career ahead. Any questions? Let's take it up. Any comments, questions? I think I was supposed to close it in 30 minutes, but
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, yeah, we'll take a few questions. If anyone has any questions, you can straight away ask, or use the chat box to ask. There's a question in the chat box, sir. Could you please talk about UPI?
UPI. So payment interface, right? Is what you are referring to, right? The payment. Yes. So see, it is payment is a interface that is now becoming all digital, right? So this is part of a digital payment interface. So whether it is a banking enterprise, or whether it is an e-commerce enterprise, or anybody is in a B2B ecosystem, somebody within the enterprise building some application, they have to interact with their vendors, etc. It is all happening in a digital fashion. So having it is based on some of the services, right? We call it as web services or API services, application programming interface, right? So UPI is just another interface that is provided for making payments more and more seamless. So India created a UPI platform, on the lines of our digital strategy, and that UPI interface is being provided to various end users. Somebody like Flipkart is coming and asking for an interface by which you can make the payments seamless for people within India. I think UPI becomes an interface, and using UPI as an interface, there are many applications that are coming up. So if you look at Google Pay can use UPI, and ICICI can use, Citibank can use, right? So it becomes a generic payment interface which acts as a reusable API, from a technology term, if I can say, and using which you are able to send some of the requests in a particular format using a header and some kind of a data, and which of course tells that, okay, it is coming from ICICI, and this is the name of the person who is making a transaction, and this much is the amount, etc. There is so much of data which is encapsulated into that format. Then if the banker who is supposed to give that money, right, he confirms everything and responds back, then that particular transaction gets completed. So it is a generic user interface, or a generic peripheral interface which can be used by the various people who can utilize that UPI interface. I may not be able to. Okay, yeah. you can describe about UI design. Okay. No, it is. It can. It is standardized for countries based on the regulations within the boundaries of that country. But it can so happen. I mean, it is definitely available across various countries as well. But the way that we have designed it is within the regulatory framework of India. When it goes to a different country, the framework will change. Accordingly, the formats will change, and that is how. So something like SEPA, if you have heard about it, SEPA is something very specific in Germany. So the payment interfaces has to conform to that standard. So our standard is different, another country standard is different. So UPI as an interface is popular in India, but to my understanding, it is all available on very similar fashions all across, right? About UI design, I think UI design is a field where ഇപ്പം നിങ്ങൾ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് ഒരു mobile application use ചെയ്ത സമയത്ത് it could be anything. I mean, I remember the first mobile application for a bank which came to me, and the same application which is today. So UI design is all about looking at the end user and conceptualizing the best user experience for that user. For that matter, നമുക്ക് ഒരു application open ചെയ്തിട്ട് to make a payment to anybody using UPI. If it is taking 5 steps process today, if the same process can be achieved in 2 clicks or 1 click, right? That becomes a requirement for a UI designer. So UI designer will conceptualize that requirement into a picturized format, which helps the actual UI developer to develop it. So he tells that as on today, it is like this. In 5 clicks, I'm able to achieve. But if you make so and so changes to the design, it will be able to achieve in 2 clicks. So that's one of the requirements that come to a UI designer. And UI designer helps to achieve that using a pictorial way of, it's called a wireframe is something that it is called a UI design outcome, right? A wireframe is designed in such a way that a developer can take it, develop it, and then send it for approval. So that's the UI designer's job. There is a little bit of what do you say, artistic requirements also comes into play. So somebody who is having a good artistic skill, and somebody who knows how technology works, and combining the artistic skill with the design, with the UI look and feel, etc., put together, can become a good UI designer or a UI design director, if that makes sense. Aisha.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I guess there are no more questions. Anyone else with any questions? Okay, fine. I am sure you have taken us through the trends in technology, the transformation that is happening in the spectrum. And I'm sure all those who have attended would have benefited from this without doubt. I really thank you for that. And I request Dr. Mansoor Ali to gratitude to Engineer Rajesh. Please join us, sir.
Yes.
Mansoor, you are breaking up. I can't hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Zach.
Is it only for me or is
My
it for...
buddy.
Hello?
Now it's okay?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, so it's heavily raining, and that's the reason. I'm sorry. So thank you, my buddy, my classmate, my benchmate, one of the leading designatories at Wipro Technologies, Engineer Rajesh CP, for having a wonderful session over here for our aspiring students. It's not a big group actually, but we have every day 25 to 30 persons, the aspiring students who are really passionate of doing something different as part of their +2 studies. So thank you, Rajesh, once again for your wonderful session over here. My dear students, ഞങ്ങളുടെ നിങ്ങളിപ്പോൾ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്ന +2 ആ +2-ന് ഒരേ ബെഞ്ചിൽ ഇരുന്ന് അപ്പുറത്തിരുന്ന് പഠിച്ച ആളുകളാണ്. രാജേഷ് സാറ് തന്നെ പറഞ്ഞു 20 വർഷത്തിലധികമായി ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ടോപ്പ് ടയർ ടെക്നോളജി കമ്പനികളൊന്നായ വിപ്രോയിൽ അതിലെ ടോപ്പ് റേറ്റഡ് ഒരു പൊസിഷനിൽ ജോലി ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന സെർവ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു എഞ്ചിനീയറാണ്, ടെക്നോളജിസ്റ്റ് ആണ്. അപ്പം സാർ ആക്ച്വലി ഈ സമയമാണ് ഇപ്പൊ സാറിന്റെ വർക്കിംഗ് ടൈം. And even if actually Sunday today, he's on official assignments. And the day ഒക്കെ നമുക്ക് സമയം തന്നു. So we have to value his time and നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും വേണ്ടി വൈസിന് വേണ്ടി വെസ്റ്റേൺ ഗാറ്റ്സ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസ് ഫോർ സോഷ്യൽ എക്സലൻസിന് വേണ്ടി മാനേജ്മെന്റിന് വേണ്ടി ടീച്ചേഴ്സിന് വേണ്ടി ഒക്കെ എൻ്റെ ആത്മസുഹൃത്ത് കൂടിയായ രാജേഷ് സാറിന് ഒരുപാട് നന്ദിയും കടപ്പാടും രേഖപ്പെടുത്തുന്നു. സോ ഇനി എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ നിങ്ങളുടെ കരിയറിൽ ടെക്നോളജിയുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫ്യൂച്ചറുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട എന്ത് ക്വറീസും സംശയങ്ങളും ക്ലാരിഫിക്കേഷൻസും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആവശ്യമുണ്ടോ അതൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് രാജേഷ് സാറിനായി കണക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് എല്ലാ ഹെൽപ്പും നമുക്ക് അസിസ്റ്റൻസും ഒക്കെ രാജേഷിന്റെ അടുത്ത് നമുക്ക് പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കാം. So thank you, Raj, again.
Thanks, Mansoor. I think thanks for the opportunity. ഈ ടൈം ഫ്രെയിം starting 10, 11, 12 എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരു decision time ആണ്. So I hope I was able to make some sense in terms of feeding you some of the trends that is happening. There could be many more things happening beyond this. I mean, you would be also watching what is happening on the ground, right? So there'll be many more things happening, but I could give a glimpse of it. So thanks for this opportunity, and thanks students for listening in, and wishing you all the very best. Have a good day ahead. Thanks, Mansoor.
Yeah, over to you, Mushtaq, for an official conclusion.
Thank you so much, sir. I wish we'll be able to conclude this session. Really, thank you on behalf of all those who have attended, and on behalf of WISE, thank you again. You have a good day ahead, sir. Thank you so much. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
We have to connect again. Thank you.